All right, welcome to Hello Audio. My name is Derek Padilla. I am co-founder and head of product here at helloaudio.fm. And I'm going to walk through just basically how Hello Audio works as a podcast hosting company, showing off some of the private feed features that we have available today. So to start, I'll just create a new feed. And you can see your first choice is, do you want it to be private or public? Private just means it's not searchable. People can't just find it by Googling it or searching Apple Podcasts or Spotify, as opposed to public, which is totally searchable, but you don't know who's listening. Private, people have to request access. So we'll go ahead and give private feed a try. So I'll make this nice demo feed. We have some choices here, but I'm just going to jump right down to adding the basic information, my name, website, and I'll add a quick image for my podcast. So let me drop that there. We convert images that are not square. We crop them to be square for you. We'll take a JPEG or PNG file and good to go. So basics are in. Feed is now ready to be created. So there we go. Feed is now saved. So the way we work is a lot of our users have video content that they are repurposing. And so what you can do is drag and drop a whole bunch of files just all at once. And then we'll convert everything that's not a MP3 file into MP3 for you. And then every file gets turned into an episode automatically. So each file is now turned into an episode once it's finished uploading and then converting. So they're processing right now. So this video file, for example, will be converted to MP3. And the way we organize these podcasts, they're kind of like playlists. So we can just drag them around, put them in the right spot. And then that's now the order of the episodes that they'll appear in the podcast apps, this one at the top. So let's give it a new name. It's done converting because we can listen to the preview of it right here. You can right click and save as if you want. And then, let's call this the welcome episode. Great. So feed is now ready to be published. It's all basic information. I could add show notes. I can generate a transcript if we wanted. I'll come back and download that later. Embeddable Players are here for you to grab. We have two options, like a nice slim one, something like this, but a little more colorful, and then Embeddable Player that has the image and some text as well. We also have this nice remastering, which is powered by Dolby.io. I'll click that just to get it started, and we can compare those if we want later on. Both the remastering and the transcription take a few minutes to process. We have some nice features like, I'm sure if you're a podcaster, you're used to pasting the same links in every episode. You can do that in one episode in what we call the universal footer, and then it'll appear on all episode show notes at the bottom. And so you just have to do it in one spot, and then it's on all episodes in the feed. Okay, so this one's ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and publish it. Again, I'll come back and get the finalized transcript. Oh, the Dolby's already done, as we can tell by this little speaker. So using remastered audio. These other ones, I'm not going to mess with the settings. I'll just say they're good to go. So these are now published. Cool. So 3 episodes done. One of them's remastered, titled, transcribing. All the good stuff is happening. So this is a private feed, which again, usually a public one, you'd go and submit it to Apple, submit it to iHeartRadio, that kind of stuff. What we're going to do here is give listeners to this feed, add our first listeners. And then what happens is we send an email to those people inviting them to start listening. So you can add up to 1,000 at a time. We can take more than 1,000, but you just got to do it in batches. And each email address that gets added here is going to be sent a welcome email. And here's a preview of the default text. You can send it to yourself if you want to check what the actual email is going to look like first before sending it out to your 1,000 folks. But let me say, like, here's the private podcast. Wow. Hope you enjoy. Little smiley face. Do I want to send it? Yes. Cool. So I, Derek Padilla at gmail.com, have just been invited to this example feed. So I should have an email in my inbox. Let me go check Gmail right now. There it is. So it is sent from the creator of the feed via Hello Audio, your audio access to the demo feed. Here's that little blurb of text that I can customize, my smiley face, the image, and a big start listening button. So that button opens up a page asking the listener, which app do you want to use to listen to this content? And we have a nice link to our help doc if they have questions about how to do it exactly. And if they're on their computer, not all these buttons are going to work. Overcast doesn't work on a computer. Podcast Addict is Android only. They could scan this QR code. Most people are comfortable with that now, and open the link on their phone directly to get it into one of those apps. On my computer for this video, I'm just going to pick Google because Google basically works anywhere that it's installed on a browser. It works just fine. All these buttons open up the podcast app directly to a question. Do you want to subscribe? On a phone, it would happen, the Apple Podcast would say, do you want to subscribe to this feed? They hit yes, or they hit subscribe, follow, and it's done. It's in their list of shows in their library. So once Google says, yeah, we're good, Google's always a little slow to get it into the list of podcasts. It shows the feed. So on a phone, on Google Podcasts, on your iPhone or Android phone, it would look the same. Hit subscribe, and then there it is. And then we can listen to the first episode up at the top, and all is good. Cool. So that's basically it, really. That's the distribution of the podcast. Now, clearly, you don't want to come in and drop a listener email address every time someone signs up. You're welcome to do that if you want. But we have tons of automation options, a lot of them through Zapier. So if you want to integrate to a checkout or opt-in tool using something like Zapier, you can. You can see we also integrate with things like Thinkific, which is a course platform, Member Vault as well. ActiveCampaign, we have webhooks for adding listeners. We can also remove listeners. So if I hit this switch and so I'm going to turn off my access. Let me refresh because it should say subscribed. I just need to get a new update now that I have actually subscribed. My status is subscribed. So you can filter a list of who's subscribed and who hasn't. And then let's say I leave the program or the membership and I shouldn't have access to the content any further. You can turn off my access. Flipping the switch is the manual way. And again, Zapier, ActiveCampaign, all those tools can automatically make this happen when they leave the program for you. So if I go back and try and play something now, I'll get an error. So I don't have access. I'm not able to listen to any more content in this feed. So if I turn it back on, come back, hit play, and it works just fine. Everything's back to normal. I now have access. Yeah, so that's really the benefit of private podcasting is you can control exactly who's listening. You can see that I have one download when I played that episode. If I refresh, I should have 2 there now. Let's see that updated. You can look at stats by individual listener. You can, of course, filter your stats by episode. So if I want to know how many people with Gmail, which is just me, have listened to content, there's the list of all the Gmail listeners. Of course, you can filter by specific people as well. Yeah, so that's really the fundamentals of it. You can learn a whole lot more at helloaudio.fm. And of course, in that website, you'll find the same help button you see here inside when you're logged in. You can ask us any questions that you like. And that's the fundamentals of it. If you don't mind, I'd like to spend a little more time talking about some really cool features that are some details that we can get into, like how to personalize this stuff. So we have the people's email addresses, the listeners, but we can do some more stuff with who they are as a person with their names. So I could say, for example, the first episode is actually welcome, first name of the person. And if I don't know the first name, I could say friend, something like that. And I could change the episode to be titled with the person's name based on who they are individually. So me, Derek, I will see welcome Derek because my name and contact information is inside Hello Audio, inside your My Listeners area. I've been added as a person to this private podcast. So let me save that change. And now you can see this little F name wildcard placeholder thing. I should refresh Google. I should be able to see, yep, welcome Derek. So because my personal information is in Hello Audio as a listener, I see my content personalized for me as it gets set up in this way. You can do that in episodes. You can do that in the feed titles. You can do that in the show notes. And yeah, it's going to show first name or last name, whatever you'd like it to show. So that's a good personalization tip that we have. What else can we do? We can add dynamic content. You might be seeing this tagging option. So you can segment your listeners based on who they are, actions they've taken on your website, products they've purchased or not purchased, based on their tags. So if they have the tag, I don't know what, left-handed is my stupid example tag. If they're tagged as a left-handed person, they will hear this pre-roll and this post-roll. And if they aren't tagged left-handed, they will not hear other content based on what other tags you have. So you can set up dynamic content to show up like, I want to promote this product, but I only want the people who don't own it to hear the pre-roll talking about that, you can set up the tagging to do exactly that. You can also schedule it. Say I'm running a promo for the month of December. I want it to start on that date, and so on. So you can do some cool stuff with dynamic content in that respect. But you can also do it by episode. So only listeners who have the tag, I don't know, great friend. I'm not a great friend, apparently. So that tag is not applied to me. I'm going to save this episode. So this is only for people who have the tag great friend, this example Zoom recording. So if I go back here without that tag, that episode should disappear. I don't have the tag. I don't get the episode. So you can really fine tune and segment the audio content in a private feed in much more detail than just like a blast out. Everyone gets the same content at the same time. Everyone hears the same stuff. Cool. So we got some listener tagging and some first name, last name information, dynamic content. You can also set up, say this feed is just a pop-up feed for your promotion that you're running. You can set it up to expire, disappears for everyone on a particular date. Or you can say everyone has access for this feed from the time they start, when you drop their email address into this feed, until, I don't know, whatever you want. I know it's not a valid date. I didn't put a date there. Per listeners, yeah, 90 days later, that's perfect. I want them to have access for that many days, and then the feed disappears. So somebody joins today, 90 days later, it disappears. Somebody joins tomorrow, 90 days after that, their content disappears from the podcast app. Yeah, so there's some cool stuff we can do. That's just the beginning. Like I said, head to helloaudio.fm to check out some awesome stuff that we're doing. You can start a free trial, no credit card required, 7-day trial. We're right now running Black Friday, but that'll be ending, I think, today. And then if you want to book a demo, talk to me. I do group demo calls twice a week, and we get a small group of us together, and you can ask any questions you like. Again, you can drop us an email by clicking this button. I hope you've enjoyed this. Come check us out, helloaudio.fm. Thanks so much.